I'm actually in central Georgia in the USA.
Wow, Central Georgia. Um, I can imagine that your career direction has been slightly affected by everything that's going on. What's Central Georgia got going for you?
Well, you're right. There's very little Lindy Hop work in the world these days. So I have found myself actually in an RV park. So I'm working down here and I'm taking people's reservations and doing various maintenance things around the park. You never know where the world's going to turn you.
Exactly. I'm totally with you. I'm surprised at the kind of work. I was a semi-professional, something like that, Lindy Hopper, with the studio before all this happened, and it was a lot of twists and turns in this time, and trying to keep going forward. No.
Yeah, I would
Um,
definitely say after 6 months of the quarantine right now, just from dancing full time and traveling so much for 20 years, essentially nonstop. I think the last 6 months has kind of felt like a vacation. I mean, not a financial vacation. It's felt like a financial desert, but physically and emotionally, it's felt a little bit like a vacation. And to be honest, it was just last week I woke up with a very strong desire to get back into Lindy events. And I was a little surprised by that. I think part of me had a little bit of the relief after 6 months, but we're deep into it now. It's over 6 months for me, and I'm ready for. I I don't know if it's just like the when you get familiar with something, and when you're familiar with something for 20 years, you start to miss it, and so I don't know. I don't know what the resulting feelings will be. So I'm just sitting with those right now. I have the feeling right now that I would really like to go to a dance event somewhere in the world and touch people and talk to people. It would be, I think it would be really satisfying to the soul.
I think there's so many effects of this that are just kind of the ones that boil underneath of like just the simple body habit of dancing every day and then letting that go because we're not required to on a daily basis for our regular work anymore. I think there's a lot of emotional fallout from that too. That is maybe take some time to understand and yeah, it's gonna bubble up and I think it's something that we all need definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
I think I've been
well,
fortunate that I've been able to maintain a workout schedule. So that's really helped me physically. Just doing yoga, doing basic workouts. I've been doing a lot of roller skating, just other things besides dancing, I guess solo physical activities.
totally, totally. Um, well, speaking of events, because there's not much happening in the Lindy Hop world aside from the main events that are figuring out ways to hang on. ILHC is coming up, and I know that you're involved. What are you doing in ILHC?
I will be judging ILHC. I judge Camp Hollywood. That was really fun, and I'm looking forward to judge ILHC as well. I'm not going to be competing this year. I'm not going to be teaching by myself down here in Central Georgia. So it's neat that I'm able to still participate in a minor way with judging.
Totally. What's it like judging in this new context?
Well, partly it's really comfortable because you can see that I'm wearing a shirt right now, but obviously I might just be in my underwear on the lower half. So normally when I judge, I would typically put on a suit and go down there and represent. I figured if the competitors are going to show up and work hard, I like to respect them as much as I can. So I like to dress up. Now, I say that there's probably moments in the last 20 years where I've been judging and I wasn't dressed up, but it is something I do try to make an effort towards. So this year I get to relax and be at home. I mean, from my experience in Camp Hollywood, I was actually in Europe at the time and I was, judging California time. So I think I was up around 3 or 4 in the morning judging. So that was like I had to slap my face a little bit to wake up. But as soon as the dancing
Right.
started, it's not hard to be interested in what's going on and just felt normal.
Does the energy that we know and love from competitions transmit in a virtual competition in the same way?
Not at all. It would be my first response. But it's not hard for me to
Yeah.
transport myself after so much experience on the competition floor. It's one of those, I watch it and then I imagine myself in the same situation because I've done it so much. So it's not hard for me to emotionally
Mhm.
feel it. But I can imagine if you've never competed in a live situation, seeing it on video is probably not the same experience.
There's something. I mean, I was looking at the ILHC competition requirements and so on, and noticing that there are certain competitions that'll be live and other ones that you send in your video. Um, and as a competitor, I've competed very little, but I can imagine that being able to craft your video and send in maybe a more complete performance is a totally different experience than going in front of a crowd, right? So I'm wondering if I'm excited to see what comes in, if people get creative, or if that creates different ways of taking advantage of the multimedia that we have at our hands now, right?
Personally, I hope people take advantage of the multimedia situation that we have. I'm a big, strong proponent of dance to the audience that's in front of you. Dance for the medium that you're exercising. I think one of the unique
Totally.
things about the video compilation. I mean, also I have a lot of experience doing instructional videos and performing on film, movies, TVs, and stuff like that. And so when I do choreographies, I tend to, well, the terminology that Joe and I typically use is we want to choreograph flat. And that means if someone is sitting right in front of you, for example, the judges or the audience, you're trying to create a visual picture that they can see best from the angle that they're sitting. Now, when you're in a jam circle in a social dance situation, you have people all around you, so there's really no, let's call it the front, is what we typically say a lot. So without having that front, you don't have a flat, you're in the circle, then it kind of doesn't matter where you face and you go for it. I know some strong performers will actually be very conscious of who's filming when they're in a jam circle, and they make sure that they present their moves to the flat orientation of whoever's filming. So I'm hoping that people take advantage of the fact that there's no longer anyone behind you, there's no one on the sides. It really is 100% flat. So you want to make sure your lines are visual. If you're going to swing out, it's not that the swing out has to be flat to the audience. It's that if you're doing a forward swing out, maybe specifically you want, whoever's in the following role to be presented, shooting forward towards the camera, or you really want a nice, flat orientation to the camera. But regardless, I really, I hope competitors are being very conscious of the medium that they're using and maximizing the effect. Because, dancing is emotional when you're dancing yourself, but when you're watching it, it's partly, well, it's emotional because of the music and your auditory, but it's also very heavily visual. So I want people to take advantage of that.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting to imagine uh, uh, all of those angles. I mean, you have thousands of hours, and we have hundreds and hundreds of hours experience working together filming Ilindi as well. And I mean, it's basically second nature for you and Joe working together, understanding where the camera is, and I guess uh, yeah, something it's second nature for an experienced and seasoned performer as well. Let's see how that becomes second nature for the Lindy Hop community now as they start to perform and compete in this way.
Yeah,
Um,
it does. I mean, I've always talked about when I'm in the studio with Joe and we're choreographing, we always see our camera as our coach, and whatever music player we're using is our band. And so when we go to rehearsals,
mhm,
we have to make sure we bring our coach, we bring our musicians, and then we bring ourselves. And because of that,
nice.
we'll film ourselves and then we watch that film. And then that's how we make adjustments to our lines and the moves that we're doing. Sometimes we have a really cool move and then we watch it on film and we realize it doesn't, well, we say it doesn't read, meaning you can't see what's going on or you don't get the maximum effect of the move. So then we have to alter the choreography. So even, in preparing for live performances, we actually do a lot of our preparation work on camera.
I can imagine. Yeah, cool, cool. Um, yeah, I think like getting into the performance vibe, like I don't know, if I'm gonna send in a recording, I'm gonna send in my best of, I don't know, 10 different tries that I'm doing. Um, or sometimes it's that first spontaneous one that really works, or I'm just going to get exhausted by the seventh time we go through it. No, all those things come into play. What tips do you have for, like, okay, I'm going to get into this performance feeling now, and all I have is my coach, as you say, my camera and my audio equipment next to me. Like, you got to psych yourself up, I guess, no?
Yeah, I absolutely. I think one important technique is you need to think of it. Well, let's talk about the negative side, which is if you think, oh, I can just do this routine over and over again until we get a perfect take, you're going to kill your body and you're going to destroy yourself most likely. Probably because you're pushing yourself physically. I mean, again, I'm talking from personal experience. That's usually why I'm doing routines. I like pushing myself physically and creatively. So if I was saying, oh, I can do this until I get it right, I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're going to get diminishing returns the more times you do it. So I would be more apt to say, okay, we're done with our choreography. Tomorrow we're going to film, and we're going to film maximum 3 times. And so mentally, you have to push it and do it 3 times. So you go to the studio, you film it, and you just do it full out. You do it once, take a short break, do it twice, short break, third time, and then give it a rest. Then later that night, look at them and decide, okay, is this our best? Can we do it better? And if you think you can do it better, then go back and film it. But again, do more. What I'm saying is I would treat it more like a live performance than a rehearsal, right? So I would get up, I would get dressed up. So mentally, I'm coming from so much live performance experience, and I think the getting dressed is part of my psychological preparation for the routines. So if I was to do that on camera, I would do that same sort of thing. I'm like, okay, here we go. I might even get a friend to announce myself, like off camera, be like, ladies and gentlemen, or, friends and family, we'd like to introduce to you this next convening couple. And of course, that's not going to be in the final video, but it's sort of a mental trigger to help you go, okay, here we go. And then walk on. Right, walk on, present yourself, and be like, this is it. I have to push through. Treat it like a live performance, and we're going to see the effect of that energy on the camera as a result, I hope.
Maybe everybody needs a backing track with some serious applause and a presenter, right? So they get psyched up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a reason. I think a lot of the live sports are happening around the world these days, even though there's no audiences, they're actually bringing in audience noises so that when you're watching it, it feels like it used to feel, so to speak. But, mentally, emotionally, that's part of the whole experience. Absolutely.
Totally. Because, yeah, seeing the audience is just one part, but hearing them is so powerful when you're on stage.
I think that was interesting for me when I worked on a TV show and, a movie where it was really out of context because I feel like I was molded in the social dance world where it is all about the experience of the evening. Like, what time of night are you performing? What has happened during the day? But when you have to do a call at 5 a.m. in the morning and you have to go to makeup, and then now it's 6:30 and they didn't have time for breakfast, and you're in the sound studio and they say action. They want you to dance. For me emotionally, I'm like, but it's not 10 o'clock at night. It's not 1 in the morning. I'm not feeling it right now. I'm sorry. It's 6:30 in the morning. I'm not feeling it. But I tell you, all those camera crews and that studio and, the dollars are clicking. They don't care.
Right.
So you kind of have to suck it up. So I can imagine, it is really hard to perform on video.
It's yeah. I mean, these are all skill sets that we're talking about, and skill sets, I mean, it's through experience to be able to present well on video. That's so impeccable because you guys have developed that skill for years before we went to the studio and filmed what's on the website right now. And so, yeah, I think working on developing that specific skill set is as much a part of entering this competition, ILHC, as working on your own dance routine.
Absolutely. just like anything, right? You have to flex those muscles, use it or lose it. And so it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to show who is used to dancing on camera and who is not.
Hmm.
But that's just like any competition, right? That point, you bring what you have to it. But the most important thing is go for it, do it. If people say, "Oh, I'm not ready," you'll never be ready. Every time you do it, you get more ready. So just keep doing it, even if you don't feel ready, because your feelings don't always show up on camera. So you might psychologically not feel ready, but you could just smile and just dance your heart out, and people will believe you. And yeah, that's sort of a kind of a reality with performing is your feelings don't always have to match up with the intention of performance.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of filters. One is the look on your face, and then the other one is the camera itself, right?
And the worst filter I see people do is they make a mistake and they want to make sure everyone knows that they know they made a mistake. So they change their face to acknowledge the mistake. And I just always try to coach people. We know you made a mistake. You don't have to tell us you made a mistake because we were watching you. We were watching the same routine that you're dancing. We know about it. And that was moments ago. So forget about it. So the mistake happened. We know it happened. Now we just want to see you succeed. Everyone watching wants you to succeed. And
right.
so remember that. Just keep pushing through. You don't need to acknowledge your mistakes. We already saw that moment already happened. So keep going forward and you'll get more credit. People will enjoy it more as a result.
Yeah, the skill of recovering from a mistake is another one of those skills that's really specific, right? Being
Yeah,
able
and I would
to,
say basically don't think about recovering, just keep dancing,
yeah, yeah,
right? It's not like you need to go up and apologize. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, stop the video or whatever. Just keep going.
right,
No one cares. We know you care emotionally, but everyone watching, they don't care. And so if you don't want to acknowledge the feelings of those watching, then why are you competing? Why are you putting yourself up out there for others? Right? If you just want to have a personal experience, then dance by yourself at home, which
right.
is totally fine. It's like there's something wrong with doing either one. It's just acknowledge the moment that you're in, and if the moment you're in is presenting your material to other people for other people to enjoy, then try to maximize their enjoyment because that's
Mhm.
kind of why you're there.
Have you had the experience of making like a big choreographic mistake and still winning the competition?
Yes, actually, I have, and I think partly that comes from being molded in the social dance world with routines. So I've always had a strong social dance connection with all my dance partners over the years. So I've always focused on doing a choreography that was still based on lead and follow. So we're basically communicating the whole time. So there's been moments where I have forgotten the choreography. No, don't get me wrong. There's moments where I've completely messed up. But there's moments where I have messed up, but no one knew I messed up.
Hmm.
And that's because I just kept dancing and I just led something. I just did something different. And because the communication was strong, my partner could just respond to that and we just keep flowing because I know how to dance in rhythm. I know eventually we'll get back on choreography. And sometimes doing a couple basics can really cleanse the palate before you get to the next big moment of a routine.
Totally, totally. And yeah, and I guess having that social dance history with all the partners that you work with is key as well because then they can just adapt and that they feel comfortable in that situation of being quote unquote lost but still being in it, right?
Yeah, and I think I don't know if it's unique to Lindy Hop, but it's definitely unique to social dances. There's other dance forms that are heavily choreography based, and you can't really get away with that. It would be hard to fake it. I can imagine if you're doing a Martha Graham, a modern dance performance, and one of the dancers in the troupe completely forgets the choreography. I'm not sure they could fake it through, but maybe they could in the sense that they know the range of movement and the ideas around it. But yeah. But anyway, that's the nice thing about social dancing is that added advantage. And actually, the look of the dance really comes across. I can see when a couple is not communicating through their partner connection,
Of course.
and yeah, and they're just kind of moving through choreography as opposed to dancing in sync, because I prefer social dancing over choreography in general. Just there's just that extra magic
Totally.
in that. So yeah, so that's my personal preference.
Nice. Yeah, that's interesting. Despite being a fully choreographed a routine, it's so relaxing to see that real connection. Um, yeah, I hear that. Nice. Nice, man. Well, this has been a great chat. I hope that the people who are listening, who are out there, and I hope some of you are competing, and some of this rings true and has good perspective on how to approach ILHC that's coming up, or any other online event that you're doing.
I'm excited to see all the competitors come out and show their stuff. I know this pandemic's holding, I think Lindy Hop social dancing, or social dancing in general, is the probably one of the number one super spreader events that is possible with COVID-19. So it's really unfortunate, but yeah, don't let that stop you from training and working together with a very small group of people and bringing your best out on the competition floor.
Totally. In the few times where I've had chances to perform or be a part of concerts in the last few months, where small events or private things that we've been able to organize or be a part of, just the act of expressing myself artistically has been like, I feel like there's just so much pent up emotion that I don't even notice that it's there until I'm doing something artistic. And I'm like, whoa, where did this all come from? There's just so much energy. And so, yeah, I hope that we see some really creative stuff on the dance floor next month.
I'm so excited.
Cool, man. Well, I think we'll sign off here. It's great to chat with you. Nice to catch up.
You too, Tim. Thanks so much.
A
Talk to you
pleasure.
later.